Welcome to another episode of the Reboot Chronicles, a no-holds-barred forum with global leaders, authors, entrepreneurs, and CEOs about how organizations stay focused on growth and innovation in unprecedented times. I'm your host, Dean Tobias, coming to you live from Reviv's North American headquarters in Chicago, and we would like to thank you for joining us from around the globe today. I'd like to welcome Sarah Casalan Bittle to the Reboot Chronicles. She is the president of the UPS store, the world's largest retail franchisor of shipping, postal, printing, and business services, with over 5,500 locations in the U.S. and Canada alone. UPS, as many as you know, is one of the world's largest companies with 500,000 employees in 200 countries that delivered 5.7 billion in packages and 91 billion in revenue last year. The UPS store consistently is ranked as a top franchise opportunity by Entrepreneur Magazine, and they were ranked number one as Forbes' best customer service list a while back as well. So not bad. Sarah, it's good to see you.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, as an old FedEx guy, I was one of their first or youngest managing directors back in the day, and kind of witnessed the explosion of shipping like it never was such a consumer thing before, especially for small business. So we'd love to talk about it with you. But it seems like everywhere I go, there's a UPS store these days. Like I think more than Walmart's here in the U.S. So what's your secret? What's going on?
So I think a few things. One, so we are within 10 miles of 85% of the U.S. population. So we do have a great footprint. But we are providing products and services that our customers in our communities value. And we're doing it with a focus on strong customer experience. We are also providing an elevated franchisee experience. We're very focused on the two. They go hand in hand, a great customer experience and a great franchisee experience. But I think that the secret sauce at the moment is more small business owners, general consumers, et cetera, have an opportunity to participate in the digital economy in a way that never existed before. Right. And, COVID certainly helped accelerate some of that. So the base of our needs has actually grown in communities that maybe we couldn't penetrate before. So we look we're very data driven and focused in terms of where we can continue to expand while protecting the relationships and the agreements we have with our existing franchisees.
Yeah, it's interesting. Your franchisees are SMBs themselves, and that's kind of their target audience. It's kind of their go-to place for all kinds of things. Do they all offer the same thing, or are there some rogue franchisees that will offer me other things? I know I can't get a cappuccino when I go in there, but we often run in and run out. But I see other SMBs kind of doing more business with you guys, doing other things to help with their business.
Sure. Our core business, under the shield, we are the UPS store. Our core business is shipping and packaging, and we have our guarantee, our package ship guarantee program. So that is at the core, and all of our franchisees offer that, as well as mailbox services. We have a 40-year relationship with the USPS that it really helps small business owners as sort of a gateway into our network. And then we have other centers that are really important. Print is one that is growing. And you said you came from kind of the Kinko's days back in FedEx. We believe that there's an extraordinary amount of opportunity there for us to continue to take share. And we want to find more balance in our network in terms of our overall performance in print. And there are a variety of services. We have notary that's available for 6 days a week during business hours. There are a couple of ancillary services, I would say, that our franchisees do have the choice to participate in or not based on what they can sustain in the market. And those tend to be pretty fringy type of revenue centers. But our core pack and ship, mailboxes, notary, and print being a huge opportunity for us is where everyone is focused.
I love how we can't get away from print in the digital economy. Let's kind of dig in there a little bit, though. So you mentioned, FedEx my alma mater. So their acquisition of
I forgive you for that, Dean. I forgive you.
yeah, their acquisition of Kinko's, your acquisition of mailboxes, really launched this storefront business in a way that the world had never seen before. Really, it's so much convenience now. And they had a so-so track record with Kinko's had some a lot of issues getting that going and rebranded and but they took a very different tact. Everything's corporate owned versus franchise owned. And why do you think you guys went the franchise route?
A few reasons. To start, mailboxes, etc., which is our heritage, was already a franchise system.
Mm-hmm.
So in acquiring the existing business and bringing it to scale, it made just more sense. And I'm playing a little bit of forensic archaeologist here because this was 20 years ago, but it made more sense, right, to be able to scale the business and stay with the model that existed. And franchising is, has its ups and downs, but the capital profile of an organization changes when you move from a franchise model to a wholly owned model. And that is something that we take great responsibility for when we think about our franchisees, right? Their investment into our network so that we can all mutually grow together. So that combination of existing franchise system that was working very well and looking at the capital model in a favorable way.
And do you think it makes it easier to stay more profitable?
I do.
As a corporation, not the franchisee so much.
Well, I should state that my first concern is the franchisee's profitability above and beyond, right? Because our success is shared success. So when I think about when I think about a healthy network and a network that's going to grow, right, that franchisee engagement is the priority. Everything else will flow from there. If they're profitable, we're profitable. It is certainly more profitable on a rate basis, right, a gross margin rate basis. From an overall dollars perspective, maybe it doesn't compare, right, to what might be a wholly owned system. But what you find at the end of the day, you ask, what's the secret sauce? I keep coming back to our franchisees. Their livelihoods are tied to their performance, right, and their investment in this brand. And so every day they are waking up highly incented to do better for the customer, do better for the brand, do better for themselves. And that ultimately drives a positive outcome for them, our customer, and us as a franchisor. So we're laser focused there on the franchisee experience and how we elevate their ability to expand center ownership value.
Yeah. Amazon, one of the largest employers in the U.S., maybe behind Walmart, of course, is they've had some interesting relationships with your industry. They were heavy FedEx, and they decided we can get our own planes and our own vans, and then they did an agreement with you. So most consumers now have discovered UPS by returning Amazon stuff that they shouldn't have bought. And you guys make it easy, especially if you get the special code, you just drop it off and they package it and ship it back. Is that a strategic thing in terms of the use of your centers for other types of partnerships?
It is. And I would say that, Amazon, in collaboration in 2019, when we launched this national program, I don't think Amazon or the UPS store could have imagined that we would set the standard for what the digital return experience looked like. And we've expanded that digital return capability to other capabilities where corporations might need to ingest something into our network that maybe needs packaging or a different workflow that we can satisfy for them. So it became, this is the magic in the bottle thing that you wish you could capture all the time with Amazon. But and they remain a really important customer, though they've also taken some commercial decisions to do things a little bit differently. We're a premium network for them, but they have expanded their network into Whole Foods and some other distressed retailers who, if you think
Kohl's, sure.
Kohl's, Staples, so folks who are really valuing that traffic and conversion opportunity. Right now, we're a different kind
Yeah,
of animal.
they get the upside of the conversion. The return experience isn't. I've done all three. It's not nearly as good. Um, but yeah, the conversion for you. I have seen people run into your store and literally say two words and run out. Sometimes they don't say anything. So yeah, it's a
Yeah,
different model for you, but you seem to have perfected it.
there's still a lot of opportunity, and I want to talk about then. We just acquired UPS, the Happy Returns platform, and integrated Happy Returns into the UPS store. And we're already capturing nearly 70% of the volume across their network in a very short period of time. So that's another way that we think about this business, because the reverse logistics are hard. It's very hard, and it's very
Many startups have tried, including some of my FedEx alums. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not your father's return logistics like it used to be. It's at scale. It's just mind blowing what you have to pull off.
It is. So when we think about our business generally and
Yeah.
all products and services and our strategy, we think about it as value creation. How do we create value for our customers by delivering the products and services they value in a way that they appreciate? How are we creating value for our franchisees while we are expanding center ownership and elevating their experience? And then creating value for the enterprise, our strategic relevance within the UPS organization. So when we think about returns and the size of that market and reverse logistics in general and the growth that will be coming from that, especially from the SMB category, which is where we own the customer, right, in a way that others don't. It's a very opportune moment for us to be on the forefront of leading there.
And was the Happy Returns acquisition more of a land and expand play, just more volume, or was there a technology platform?
The Happy Returns business is a technology platform in general. Amazon gets all the news, but my partner David Sobey, the founder of Happy Returns, he was the first to push no box, no label, consolidated returns into the industry. It was sort of his concept, and
Right.
the technology is great. It's easy for the customer. It's easy for the merchant. In naming it Happy Returns, that was the objective, for it to be a happy experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Never was before. So how do you stay? We're really into competitiveness here, growth, innovation, competitiveness. How are you going to stay competitive now over the next few years? What's your strategy there?
I have been very lucky to have a fantastic mentor in Mickey Drexler, who you may, and he,
It's a sharp cookie.
yeah, he very much so adopted the Wayne Gretzky quote of skate where the puck is going. And where the puck is going is where your customer is going. So I talked about our value creation stack, right? At the center of the strategy and innovation, UPS and the UPS store, we talk about our three components of our strategic framework, which is customer first, people led, innovation driven. So customer first, products and services that remain relevant to the customer, that they value, and that we are providing them in a way that they want to receive them. Over the horizon, I believe there are three components to that. Differentiation on the customer experience and customer satisfaction. We are in the middle of a renovation for our stores that'll be more modern in concept. We are leaning in on customer experience, customer service, right? Again, how we really elevate that customer time in store. And then thinking about the products and services, again, as I said at the top, more people have an opportunity to participate in the digital economy than they have ever had before. And that's not going to slow down. So the UPS store needs to solidly be positioned to also participate in the digital economy. Today, we are largely a brick and mortar, right, business that is catching demand that comes to us from maybe this reverse logistics. We want to take our products and services and make them more convenient, more digital to follow our customer. And we know this is really interesting, Dean. SMBs have been at the core of our business since the inception of mailboxes, etc. Our customer today looks so different than the customer did 10 years ago. They're younger, they're more diverse, they are more digitally native, they are more oriented into various entrepreneurship than maybe small business professional acumen. And I'm just reading an article about how a study showed that Gen Z has a more favorable outlook on entrepreneurial opportunities and owning their own businesses than they do into the corporate world. This trend is going to continue. So we are going to follow the customer and innovate around their needs and experiences with a heavy focus on creating digital opportunities for our franchisees to capture revenue.
Yeah, don't wait for them to come to the store. That's smart. And you're smart focusing on the gigster economy. Let's call it that for today's session. Over 40%, it's actually 48% of globally of workers are independent workers when they actually measure it out. So let's just say it's a little less than that. The trend has just been up and to the right. So you're capturing a segment that it's not niche anymore. It used to be, of course. So that's a great expansion strategy. What about, we talked about store in a store. What are your thoughts there? It hasn't been a big part of it, but there's so much going on in other places where these people are. What are you thinking there?
Yeah. So we talk about the non-traditional model, right? And we think about the level of investment that is required, which is very much so on the low side of franchising. But if you're thinking about, let's say, a rural market, a store might not be able to command all of the capital and expenses that are necessary to invest in a full-blown center. But they could partner, again, with that shop-in-shop model. And that helps us serve communities, serve customers, and provide franchisees with generational wealth that they might not have been able to create otherwise in that local market. So I think rural is a good opportunity for us. Second, and this has been a strategy, I can't take credit for it. My predecessor really launched it, and I'm grateful for it, is this notion of non-traditional within hospitality. And how do we penetrate that market really with brands, right, that we're going to go to market with? COVID certainly did nothing for the acceleration of that strategy.
Yeah. So you're talking airports, hotels, anything where people are moving around. And
hotels, universities, theme parks. Now I'm going to speak to, for a second, the moms out there when you find yourself coming back from Disney or Six Flags.
Whole bag of stuff, yeah.
And you look at this whole bag of stuff and wonder, what are you going to leave behind to get this all in your suitcase, right? And even I was standing there, what am I going to do? I'm like, wait, there's a UPS store down the road.
Can they leave their children behind for a day? The moms need a break after that, what I've noticed.
Yeah, but there's any number of. I think we've all been there, even as business travelers, where that last minute print job that is coming to you, that binder that you need to present, and we can print it for you on the spot. So there are any number of use cases that get us really excited about that. Universities is another big play. We've got some monster university locations. So we've been expanding on military bases. So that idea of non-traditional, we're just coming out of sort of the COVID reboot, if you will, of that strategy. It presents a tremendous amount of opportunity for us.
What do you think about when you look at the build, buy, borrow model? Other acquisitions out there and partnering with startups and doing other, growth acceleration programs. Any thoughts there over the next few years?
Not necessarily. I mean, Happy was a UPS acquisition.
Yeah, and smart one.
It was a great one. We partner with a firm to help us catch all of that volume with a self-service kiosk. I think you're talking about that customer that doesn't say a word or two. So let them just self-solve, right? Because that's what they want to do, and that has been a pretty successful rollout. Print is a big business for us, and it's a bigger opportunity. And I'm not sharing anything that my team or the franchisees don't know. I am wholly dissatisfied with our online print platform and how we can capture, and the Purple guys do a much better job of it than we do. And so
Yeah.
that makes me,
That was their heritage. That's where they started.
so that aggravates me,
Yep.
right?
Right.
So when I think about where we would apply that strategy, it would most likely be in the print space.
Yeah, makes sense. You can pick up so much there. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. You've had a just amazing career. You got to work for the Crate and Barrel founders, who are just great mentors, very supportive, and I feel a lot of your retail background coming to a shop near you here. So excited to see how you're kind of rebooting the look and the feel, and just like everyone is, everything from United Clubs to anywhere with this consumer interaction. It's all based on this old, I'm behind the counter. Don't come around the counter. That's my job. Yes, it's. Are you excited about the where design is kind of taking this consumer experience?
I am. I'm a merchant at heart.
Yeah, shows.
Thank you. And I think that I'm a pretty old school retailer. I don't tell my boss. The retail's not hard, right?
Mhm.
You provide a great customer experience that's convenient. You offer fantastic products at the right price. You are relevant for your consumer. It's all going to come from there, right? And it's sort of the 5 Ps of marketing, if you will. And so I am excited that this notion of putting the customer at the center of the store experience and of the products, and again, what's relevant for them and how do they want to be served. And I think in my experience, there's so much self-inflicted damage that's come through retail at large scale, right? Some really big brands who walked away from the notion of the in-store experience.
Exactly. Yep.
And, maybe I'm being a little provocative. You can blame it on Amazon, blah, blah, or you can blame it on yourselves, right? In terms of just great merchandising, great products, great experience, great staffing, great training. So I am excited for a return to that. I would say personally, no one likes to go shopping with me because I ruin the experience for everyone. As I walk around, I'm like, who closed last
Very,
night?
very analytical. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we had the CEO of JCPenney on. He asked me to do a store walk with him sometime because I said, "Oh boy, we're two critics walking around a store." But even companies like that, many CEOs have tried to do the comeback, and they finally said, "You know what? It's about the merchandise and the experience, and not everything has to be perfect. That experience needs to be the best ever." And sounds like you're making an impact there. What kind of challenges have you faced personally in the business side, just as you've been trying to affect all this rebooting?
Sure. I think I think the biggest challenge is true for all senior leaders and all types of organizations. There hasn't been a big, impactful, even maybe small decision that
Hmm.
doesn't involve a multitude of stakeholders: your customers, your associates, in my case, your franchisees, your partners in other areas of the business, or in mine, UPS, your stakeholders, your board members, right? So, and any decision has, and I would add, your community and the communities that you serve. So there's any number of constituents, if you will, or stakeholders in any one decision. And that communicating that balance to all of the stakeholders involved to provide comfort in the decision to all of the stakeholders involved is a very rare thing to be able to do that in a very balanced way, because all of those stakeholders have their lived experience, right, and their desired outcome in a certain decision.
Yep.
So from a leadership perspective, kind of stakeholder management and balance, and I guess that notion that every boss has a boss, even if that boss is your board, right? So that's probably the trickiest thing, and very specifically in a franchise system.
Yeah, every chief executive struggles with that. And when you look at, you've had an interesting couple of challenges personally. I think you had a pretty bad health scare, and how did that impact your outlook, your leadership style, your life?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. It's a real privilege to be able to talk about it. In July of 2022, at 47 years old, I had a massive heart attack, which resulted in multiple cardiac arrests where my heart function, brain function, and lung function stopped. So I guess I get as close to an actual literal reboot as a human can get, right? They sort of rebooted,
Yes. Oh my
like shut
gosh.
down the system and started up. And I was put on the highest form of life support for several days. Luckily, I was asleep for all of this, right? But I think that when I finally was discharged after several weeks, my prognosis was uncertain, and I was in a lot of rehabilitation. However, what I found striking to me at the time was that I came home with this very deep sense of being fortunate and grateful. One, I survived the unsurvivable, right? Two, I love what I do.
Mhm.
Oftentimes people come
That's great.
back and feel
Yes.
like they need a career change. I'm like, because everybody asks me, are you going to like move to Costa Rica and go make goat cheese or something like that? No, like I love what I do and I'm so invested in it. And how fantastic is that? And I like who I am and the work that I'm doing on myself. I like the relationships that I'm in. So it was this real, those moments, maybe you take stock of your life and how awesome it was to say, I really like the stock that I'm taking, right? Um, and then the question becomes, and it was a little scary. It was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to lead this business and take care of my two small children as a single mom and balance my health? And how am I going to do this? And my answer was transparency and conversation. I just needed to be really clear with my team and my leaders and my partners about how I would need to navigate this situation. And I will say, in that year, we absolutely crushed it. So when you talk about the importance of building a strong team and building a strategy and a durable plan,
Right.
and we say, hey, listen, somebody can get knocked down tomorrow. I mean, literally, you can get knocked down tomorrow. And so we crushed it. I mean, we over delivered on all of our goals, some special projects we didn't plan on. And it was a function of my leadership team we were very aligned. We had co-authored what the strategy looked like, what our key initiatives and priorities were. And they just took it and ran with it. And I'm so grateful for them and remain grateful for them every day.
That's a beautiful story. Do you feel like it shifted your leadership style? I just got a hard yes on that, but I'm just how do you think it? You seem more empathetic and more in tune with people and more open and honest in the conversations.
I certainly think the open and honest conversation uh, is a poignant one. I just had dinner with another former mentor, and I was like, I'm just so much more direct than I ever was. she kind of she kind of giggled and said, "You've never really struggled with that." I'm like, I know. Imagine how much more direct it is. I'll tell you, there's a second part of the story which really influenced my leadership style. So my recovery was remarkable. They had predicted that I would need a heart transplant and implantables, and I don't need any of that. So my recovery has been amazing.
Yeah,
In
beautiful.
February of 23, unexpectedly, I was diagnosed with another blockage in my main artery that would have certainly been fatal if I had had a heart attack out of the hospital. And so they put me in for emergency bypass surgery. And I had always expected setbacks, but I didn't expect anything like that. And mentally, I was unwilling to even consider it. I was like, just send me home and I'll take my chances, really, right? And on Better Counsel, I ended up talking about digital transformation. I ended up having robotic surgery, which is far less invasive. Very cool when we think about technology. Yep. But what came out of that was this notion of setbacks and how I deal with those as a leader, and my team deals with those. I can have a tendency to be a push through leader, right? We're just gonna get this done and move forward. But I think taking the time to assess, right, where we are, what happened, how did we get here, what do we need to do differently? Is this the right move for us to make? I sort of taking, because I had been forced to, right? So personally, sitting and assessing a situation with a bunch of professionals that know what they're doing has become a bigger focus for me. I'm no less urgent. I'm no less accountable, but I want to gain a deeper understanding of how maybe we got here.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. It's beautiful. Great story. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Sarah Casalan Bittle, who is the president of the UPS store. This is Dean DeBias with the Reboot Chronicles. We want to thank you for joining us today. We'll see you soon.